to See Good Art. Thanks for joining in because today I'm going to review my top 10 albums of 2020. Yes, the horrendous 2020. We all know it sucks. Fortunately, there was great music that was released, and I'm very excited that I could share my metaphors, genres, terms about these albums. So don't get confused and tell yourself, Mark, why in the hell you listen to this type of music and how do you get into it? Well, I'm passionate about it, I love it, and it feels right to me. So before getting into these albums, I did push them to the side throughout the year because I wasn't feeling some of the tracks or the entire album. But somehow they all came back crawling to me and it became my top 10 list. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm sure you have that one or a couple albums that you hated, pushed to the side, and somehow end up becoming your favorite album of all time. Yeah, we all have that. But let's get into it. Grab your beer, coffee, Topo Chico, water, and here are my top 10 albums of 2020. All right, coming in at number 10 is an album called We Have Amnesia Sometimes by Yola Tango. Now, if you know Yola Tango, they're probably one of the best inspiring indie rock bands from the 1990s, in my opinion. But this album is not an indie rock album. It's more of ambience, experimental, drone, shoegaze, all instrumentation, beautiful sounds. To me, it's like very blissful. You're entering heaven. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. If you're into yoga, meditating, or if you want to be one with the earth, this album might be for you. Another metaphor is if I'm living in the mountains and I can see the city from afar and it's making all kinds of extraordinary, beautiful sounds, that's how I picture this album, and it's so soothing and calm. I loved it. Be sure to check that one out. Coming in at number 9 is an album called Kiss My Super Bowl Ring by The Garden. The Garden is an extraordinary, diverse band of elements of hardcore, experimental, hip-hop, punk, surf, garage. If you like bands like Death Grips, Beastie Boys, King Cruel, a little bit of Waves, maybe some Blur/Gorillaz. The first time I heard this album, it sounded very wacky, sloppy, didn't make a lot of sense to me. There was all kinds of dynamics of garage riffs, surf riffs, and then I had a lot of beats like Prodigy, and when I listened to it from beginning to end throughout the year, it started to make a whole lot of sense, and it ended up becoming an enjoyable and fun album. Be sure to check that one out. Coming in at number 8 is an album called The Common Task by Horse Lords. This album is futuristic, progressive, linear, abstract. It's a krautrock, math rock, experimental. The first time I heard this album, it definitely hurt my brain. The way to describe it is if computers, telephones, electronics were listening to music, this will be the album to listen to. It caught my attention when I saw a live performance of Horse Lords on YouTube, and it was very extraordinary, very simple, very creative, very minimal, and outstanding. I loved it. I recommend you check that album out. Coming in at number 7 is an album called Beneath by Infant Island. Infant Island is a screamo hardcore band, but this album has elements of death metal, post metal, shoegaze. Some of the tracks have ambience and lo-fi sounds, but when it gets down to the very heavy metal crunching tracks, it's obliterating, it's very dark, it's very fast. One of my favorite tracks is called Stare Spells. It starts off with post-rock riffs and then gets into an atmosphere of death metal, blast beats, and at the very end, just a hardcore throwdown experience. And I want to give a shout out to my Instagram friend, Octopus Invasion. He was messaging me to let me know that, hey, you might like this album, check it out. And he was right. So I thank you for that. But give it a try. Coming in at number 6 is an album called When I Die, Will I Get Better by Svalbard, if I'm pronouncing that right. Svalbard is a hardcore punk emo band, but to me, this is very aggressive, heavy metal, blast beats. The scenes are very mighty with its outstanding roars of the singer. It kind of reminds me of being at the Vans War Tour where everyone's having a great time by moshing, body surfing, stage diving, and the band is just tearing down the house. This album definitely gave me motivation to run many 3 to 5 mile runs. And if you like Converge and Under Oath, then you should give this album a try. Coming in at number 5 is an album called The Fallen Crimson by Envy. Envy is a hardcore screamo band, and this album has a lot of post-rock tones, build up, very heavy at the end of the tracks. Some tracks can be very fast, and to me, this is a glorious, victorious, championship-winning album. It's very inspiring. I feel like if you can put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. It's like you're going to distance, climbing a mountain, and everyone's just cheering you on. The unique thing about this band is that they're Japanese, so all the lyrics are in Japanese, and I wish I could sing loud and proud with the singer, but I don't know Japanese, so I don't want to sound like I'm just screaming out Godzilla character names, because that would be weird. But yeah, give this album a try. It's awesome. Coming in at number 4 is an album called Technicolor by Covel. Covel is a math rock, post-rock, progressive, jazz fusion band, and this album is very clean, very crisp. By that I mean the sound tones, the bass guitar, the guitarist, the drummer, everything just goes right. This album is very dreamy, very uppity, very positive. It can be fast at times, and it can just be very soothing and relaxing. There's 2 tracks that have some lyrics in it, and the girl's voice is very beautiful. The first time I heard this album, I kind of fell asleep on it, but then the more I listened to it while focusing on work, art, making coffee, it definitely made a lot of sense to me, and it was a gorgeous album. So give that one a try. All right, coming in at number 3 is an album called As We Suffer from Memory and Imagination by Nuvolascura. This band is a modern screamo band. I mean, this is pure screamo. If you like bands like Satia, Circle Takes a Square, then you have to get involved with this album. This album is very violent, slasher, thrasher, experimental, extreme. The drumming tones is very explosive. The guitar tones are very melodic, dynamic, sounds like Fall of Troy at some times. And the girl singing, oh my gosh, her singing is very horrific. It sounds like she's screaming at the top of her lungs, grasping for air, and just wants her message to be heard. So I love screamo, and I feel like I haven't heard a good screamo album like this in a very, very long time, and this is why it's number 3 for me. And just try giving that a listen. All right, coming in at number 2 is an album called Melee by Dogleg. Now, I didn't want this album to be my top 10 albums of the year because I'm not really into this type of music. Now, there's some bands I do like, but I didn't think this was going to be my number 2 selection. So if you like bands like Texas is a Reason, Saves the Day, a little bit of Jimmy Eat World, then you might like this album. It's very fast, it's very loud, it's very fun. The guitar riffs kind of remind me of At the Drive-In. So if you know that album called In Casino Out, then you might like this album, because when I was listening to this album, I was reminding myself, wow, a lot of guitar riffs sound like At the Drive-In, In Casino Out. But then the singing voice was like Saves the Day, Jimmy Eat World, or Texas is a Reason. And it's very fun, very powerful, very fast. You can definitely sing along with it. It definitely helped me out through my workouts. And just check it out. Okay, we're here at the bottom line. So my number 1 album for 2020, if you know me, then you know me well, is Lament by Touche, Amore. Now, Touche, Amore is one of my favorite bands of all time, and this is not the reason why this album is number 1, because this album was a damn good album. If you like bands like Converge Me Without You, Law Dispute, Thursday at the Drive-In, all the bands I love, then you might relate to this. This album is very powerful. It's very fast. All guitar works. Jeremy Bone, the main singer, very honest. You can't get enough of his singing, very raw. And people say that this music is very inspiring by saving people's lives from suicide, depression. But for me, it's definitely helped me keep my head up and moving forward. And I just can't get enough of this album and this band. So this is my number 1 pick. It's very hard to explain why this is my number 1 pick. I think you just give it a listen. But I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And looking forward to 2021. Let's remind ourselves to be better people and be better to the world. So y'all take care. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And peace.